And welcome to the Technology Geek podcast. I am your host, Brandon Lapani, the Technology Geek, and this is our first ever live show, streaming right on our website, right through our a company called Mixel. They're helping us out tremendously, and we're streaming actually right now, right on our site. So we're very glad to have everybody with us here on the site, and we're very happy to be doing this particular podcast, and very glad to be doing this live. And tonight is the first night we're going to have actually as well line. And we're going to allow you to call the Technology Geek, meaning me, with whatever you really want to talk about, honestly. It doesn't matter to me. I'm open for anything right now. And ever open lines, and we've never actually ever done this before, but we are actually doing it tonight, actually, for the first time, and we are very, very excited about it. So this is actually our 32nd podcast, but our first one ever live. But also, too, as well, folks, some amazing news as well. We are actually going to get the Technology Geek radio show off the radio network, I should say, off the ground. We've been working very, very hard on this, and something we're going to have a lot of cooperation from other tech podcasters and other bloggers and all that, and we are very thrilled to be going ahead and getting this off the ground. So if you go on our website right now, thetechnologygeek.org, you can go ahead and you can actually find our schedule for the new and improved for all different podcasts and all that. So it really is something we're very happy to be doing. We're very excited about this, and we're very lucky to have the support of a lot of other podcasters to go ahead and be doing this. If you notice, one of the things that we have noticed, and we have gotten some calls about, is people say, well, the only thing I do notice is that there's absolutely there's no video, and that's the truth. There is no video, and the reason that is I am an advocate for video podcasts when it's needed, but in our case, I don't particularly feel that it's actually needed because, all I'm doing is sitting here at my desk talking into a microphone. I just don't believe that the actual the video portion of it is particularly needed, just yet anyway. I'm not saying it's not going to be. But I'm just saying right now I feel streaming the audio off our site. As soon as the show is over, by the way, we'll get the podcast up, and what we will do is we'll actually replay it over our radio channel. We do have, like I said, the radio channel. You can find us on TuneIn. You can find, like I said, our podcast. You can stream all the radio right off our site. A lot of people are already doing that already. We have a great show lineup for a lot of people. And we're very, very excited to be doing this. And like I said, you actually be able to do it live and being able to actually, really do a radio station really dedicated just to tech and all that. We're really excited about it. Another thing you notice, too, as well, folks, is that we have actually moved to nights. I've actually wanted to go on nights for quite a while now. And unfortunately, I have not been able to. I really do like the night crowd better. I'm more of a night owl myself, so we're very happy to be doing that as well. Doing it at night now and really getting the night crowd, not being limited to a time or anything like that. So we're very happy to go ahead and be doing that. Some other things you'll notice as well at the site, again, thetechnologygeek.org. As you notice as well, folks, the up on where it says there's two links. There's actually our link where it says the Technology Geek Show, which is obviously us. There's two particular things you should notice. One, there's an IRC chat room. I'm in the chat room the entire show. If you want to come in and join me, feel free to go ahead. You can ask me any questions right in the chat room if you'd like, or you can feel free to Skype us. We're going to get to that. And as well, underneath there, folks, you can see as well, ask questions. There's a link under there. You can go ahead and leave me a voicemail, as a lot of people do. And a lot, as well as you can Skype me and or email me. I get a lot of all three, folks. It's saying that's true, so I don't care how you want to do it. If you call me, the phone number 570-630-0744 is our phone number. And like I said, leave me a message and we'll play it right on the air. The other option as well, folks, is you go ahead and you Skype me. It's Lapani Tech on Skype. There's a button there. Click on it, and you actually go ahead and Skype me. And it's open lines, folks. Like I said, I'll talk to you about anything if you want to call me and Skype in with me. I'm more than willing to do that. You'll be right live on the show with me. And it really will be a good time. Or you can ask me a question in the chat room or email to me. I don't particularly care. Whatever form of media you choose, go right ahead and do it. I don't really particularly care. But just join in on the show. Like I said, it's the first ever live show. We're really excited to be doing live radio here. And as well, like I said, it will be available in podcast format after that. And like I said, no video element just yet, but we're happy doing this right now. And we're going to keep doing the show live every Friday night at 9 o'clock. So we're very happy about that. We have quite a listener base. We've grown quite a bit. And I really feel that the only way to grow past the podcast stage is to go ahead and stream the show live, which is actually what we're doing from now on. Some other things as well, folks, as you notice, not only are we doing the radio network now, which, like I said, we're really happy about doing. Not only are we, we have the blog. Obviously, we've always had that. As well, if you notice, there's no banner ads anymore on the site. There's only one donate link. All we ask, folks, we give the content away for free. It has been free. It always will be. All we ask for is donations to help keep the site up and to pretty much keep the bandwidth flowing, because we're going through a lot more bandwidth now, especially now with the radio network. And as well as don't forget about our store and all that stuff. All that pays for the store, the donations. All that pays for is to pretty much keep the site up and keep it running so that everybody can enjoy the content and everybody can enjoy everything we're doing here at the Technology Geek. So first of all, speaking of donations and let's not I forgot about our wonderful sponsor, Audible. Again, folks, we got to do some ads just to keep the site going. But it's Audible. They're a wonderful site. I actually use them myself. I just finished up the book on WikiLeaks. I'm actually working on Art Bell's biography right now. For those of you that don't know who Art Bell is, he's a very famous broadcaster. Broadcasted for years, doing Coast to Coast AM, and he did it for years. He's actually going to be coming back on the air eventually as well to work on doing his own kind of live streaming podcast style of show. So he's going to be back on the air shortly. We look forward to him. But I'm reading his biography right now, and Audible, it's wonderful. You're driving, and it's like a movie in your mind almost. You're driving and you're listening to these books. And again, it's audibletrial.com/techgeek. And again, folks, they're a really wonderful sponsor. And use them. You get a 30-day free trial. You get one download, and we get a portion of the proceeds. This way, we can go ahead and keep the site running. If you like reading books, it's worth getting the one book. Again, it doesn't cost you nothing. You download it, you read it, and then you cancel your subscription if you want. If you don't like it or it's too expensive for you. Again, that's audibletrial.com/techgeek. So a lot of stuff going on in the world of news this week. But, one of the things I wanted to say, I didn't realize, one of the things that we've been trying to do is work with a lot of different podcasters and things of that nature. And not everybody believes in doing things, live like we do them here now. But a lot of people, like the podcast and stuff. And I was actually looking through, and there are actually clock radios for your bedstand or your nightstand, or wherever you're going to put it, by Logitech called UE Smart Radios. And they actually sync up with Pandora, SiriusXM, TuneIn, all that. And it actually is really, really neat. Really neat. They're a little pricey. They can be about $100. But if you're definitely into any of that type of stuff where you really want to go ahead and you really want to, listen to internet radio through your clock radio. I mean, you could probably just use your iPod or something, but if you want to do that, Logitech makes one. So since we are, by the way, on the topic, by the way, folks, and what we'll do, folks, I have some news stuff and some things I want to talk about, and then what we'll do, we'll go to open lines after I'm done talking and stuff like that. I know I do have some not so much open lines, but I do have several people that emailed me and called me about some stuff that they wanted to talk about. So we'll get to all those questions soon. But I just want to go over some news stories. For me, I guess a big news story that I guess really shocked me is this whole Adam Carolla lawsuit that's going on right now. Those of you that don't know, Adam Carolla, I kind of call him the father of podcasting. He's actually really went ahead and actually, what he did was he had a morning show, and the morning show pretty much got canceled. So he decided to start doing this podcast. I believe this is back in 2009. And he did really well with it and all that, and he's been doing it for years ever since. And what I think is interesting is how now that his podcast is doing so well, now the company that he worked there's a company out there right now, a broadcasting company that actually is suing him for the rights for distributed media. So who knows what that's going to mean for the world of podcasting, for people like me and other people that's part of this group. That we really, that we're actually working really hard towards really trying to get the podcast networks and all that off the ground. Companies like Twit, any celebrity. I mean, Bill Burr. I mean, Opie and Anthony. I mean, the list just goes on and on. Anybody that's at all is doing a podcast now is going to have to go ahead and could possibly have to pay royalty rights to this company. And this was actually on 9 to 5 Mac. I actually heard about this. But how ironic is it that you may actually have to go ahead now and almost pay, pretty much pay, royalty rights to, these, this company. But this isn't the first time that they've actually went ahead and done something like this. If I'm not mistaken, they sued Apple back in 2011 and actually won $8 million from Apple. They also won a case as well with a licensing agreement with Sirius, Motorola, Samsung, and all that for distributing playlists. Apparently, the whole idea of downloadable playlists was actually their idea, and since Sirius and quite a few other companies, Samsung, Motorola, and all that make distribute downloadable playlists, they actually had to go ahead and pay them royalty rights for actually doing that. And it's amazing that these patent trolls can actually get away with this, and can actually make money on this. But that's what's going on. And Adam Carolla, I mean, this is costing him personally, I mean, millions and just millions of dollars. So he's actually gone ahead and started a fund for this. It's actually, we'll actually put the link up on our site, but what he's actually trying to do is actually trying to get people to donate so they can fight to keep podcasts free. And it's really something that's it's not a joke, because this could change the entire landscape of the podcasting industry. It really could. It can change the entire landscape of the way we podcast, the way we distribute media, the way companies like Sirius and the way everybody really operates. And with podcasts really picking up, a lot of steam as they've been over the last several years, this could really be quite an issue that a lot of companies, especially that really, that produce, media like this is going to really have to contend with. I mean, just radio shows alone. FM radio. Look at what they do. I mean, they have their show. Their shows that are live, and then they distribute a podcast, kind of like exactly like what we do. And what's that going to mean for them? I mean, what's going to mean? Sirius is the same thing. I mean, look at what they do. I mean, they have an app just for their particular thing. So, I mean, what is that going to mean to everybody in the world of technology? So a lot of that is going to still have to remain to be seen as to what's going to happen, as far as is he gonna win, is he not going to win? There's definitely a lot of things that a lot of people are going to be affected by if this whole lawsuit goes out. And like I said, they're patent trolls. That's what these people are. They, that's how they make their money. They go ahead and they just, they go and they're patent trolls. That's how they make their money. They they sue people for, for their, for the patents, and then people pay them licensing and all that type of stuff. So, I mean, nothing really new there, but I mean, companies have been doing this for years, but, it's just getting, worse and worse as these lawsuits and stuff continue to really, roll in and roll in really hard. So we have some other stuff as well. Not only is that going on with Adam Carolla, but we also have too. March 31st was the last day that you have to sign up for national health care. And like I said, I don't want to get too much into politics and healthcare, but I have been receiving a lot of emails and people like that talking about how they're actually they're very upset with the fact that they had to sign up for healthcare. I believe it's about the amount of people I get is about a 50-50 split. Some people are saying it's costing them more. Some people saying it's costing them about the same. It's about a 50-50 split right now. So some people saying it's costing them less. So it's one of those things where it's kind of I'm getting like a 50-50 split down the middle. Some people love it, some people hate it. So it will remain to be seen as to what how it's going to really affect people. I know a lot of people have been complaining that they're not getting the same amount of coverage. Some people are complaining that now they're getting worse coverage under Obamacare and they're paying more money. I mean, I think it's a 50-50 split. Down the middle. Some people satisfied with it, some people not. So we will see what happens with that. Healthcare.gov obviously did have the website itself had a very rocky start, but things seem to be really rolling right along with it now, and people seem to be really satisfied with the way I don't want to say satisfied. People seem to be satisfied the way the site's working, and the fact that it's not. It's not crashing and stuff like it was. You remember October? Things were pretty shaky if you were trying to sign up in October, but things seem to be really rolling well with that now. Some other news as well that I wanted to talk about is there's been research out finally about this whole thing with Angry Birds. If you remember probably maybe 4 or 5 shows ago, because we've been off for a while, so it's probably at least a month or two. But do you remember this whole situation with Angry Birds? The whole situation there where they were selling people's data. 60 Minutes and stuff looked into it. So apparently what they were doing was information was going back to their personal cloud, but was also happening as well was that they were sending the data to other ad clouds like JumpTap, NextAge, LoopMe, and places like that. And there's another database as well that they were sending to. So they were getting, they were selling people's data to these ad companies. And the reason why I'm bringing this up because there's a lot of controversy over ads right now. And this is actually kind of interesting because we were just talking about podcasting and giving ads and donations to keep the site going. Now I'm talking about how, I'm kind of bashing it. So I'm kind of talking out of two sides of my face right now. I'm kind of sorry. I try not to do that, but unfortunately sometimes it just happens, But what's going on with this is not only are people upset by the way that about ad placement, but now companies are actually going ahead and they are actually filing, people have actually gone as far as to, they're thinking about filing lawsuits against a company like AdBlock. Those of you that don't know what AdBlock is, AdBlock's a plugin for, Firefox or Chrome that prevents pop-ups and prevents ads. And Microsoft has not an ad blocker, but a pop-up blocker anyway, built into their, to their site. And it's actually kind of, it's kind of different because, I don't know if there's so much going to fight the pop-up blockers, but I know they're definitely going to be fighting the ad blocks. I know for a fact, Internet Advertising Bureau, they don't like how tens of millions of people use ad block software and pretty much all the ads are blocked. I mean, you're dealing with companies that make money on selling ad placement and on providing, internet marketing services. And now, a lot of people are saying, why should I bother with internet advertising when predominantly, my ads are going to be blocked? So there's a lot of controversy about that. Obviously, the big ones are obviously Ad Block Plus and obviously regular Ad Block. Ad Block Plus, obviously, they're actually working on possibly an ad whitelist or an ad manifesto that if you pay them enough, they'll actually allow your ads to go through. So that, they're doing that to make revenue, which, you can't really blame them. They are a company. They do have to produce some type of revenue stream. But the guy I actually know the guy, he actually quit his job to actually work on an ad block full time pretty much. So you can't really blame the guy for that. He does have to make a living. But, obviously a lot of controversy about that. What are they going to do? Apparently, there's more than 600 companies that are responsible for showing 86% of the ads in the United States, and obviously they're very upset about this whole ad block situation, which you can't blame them. Putting ads on websites is their business. Obviously, Google, has. Google, I know for a fact. I know that Google itself has paid big money to be on the whitelist for ad block. That one I know. If you remember a while back, there was a guy that actually took the Facebook API and actually went ahead and actually pretty much made an ad block for Facebook, and Facebook really couldn't do anything really about it. So a lot of things going on like that right now that ads have become such a big part of the internet. Look at how many ads are on any newspaper site. All those ads and stuff are all revenue generating things for those companies. So they almost in a sense have to they almost have to do this type of stuff. So if they want to survive, obviously they do have to make money. They're giving newspapers don't give the content away for free, but a lot of websites do. Like Facebook. Facebook almost has to sell your stuff because that's really their main revenue stream. So they're saying that, and I don't know how they exactly get these numbers, but they're saying that they've lost $137.5 billion in revenue due to ad block. So, that's, I don't know if I really, I don't know how much I buy that, but e-marketers, obviously, digital ads, they're growing. They say they grow about 4.8% a year, in ad sales. And that's what they said they're losing. You look at ads. Ads pretty much, they generate a fortune for Facebook and Google. Apple's trying to follow suit with their mobile ads now, in-app purchases and things of that nature. So, there's a lot of people making a lot of money off online ads, and if they're not going to be running them, or if they're going to be blocked, people aren't going to be advertising. I remember a few years ago, a friend of mine, he actually started blogs and was using pay-per-click with Google, and I remember he was making a good dime, and he's still making good money. He can't really complain. He makes a good dollar, but the funny thing about it is that he now it's almost he's still making it, but he's a small guy, a couple of blogs and makes himself money, but the big companies are the ones that are really going to feel it. And I'm sure it's going to affect the little guy, but the big companies are the ones that are really complaining about it and really want it gone. So we'll see how things go with that. I have a feeling that that's not going to be, I know for a fact that's not going to be the last time that we hear about the problem with ad block and things of that nature. I'm sure that's a story that's going to continue to develop, especially, it comes down to, everybody, what happens, the website's providing the content and the ads, and if the filter is stopping it and you're getting it clean, somebody's losing money because either they're losing money because the ad's not showing, that's a potential customer, or they paid for that ad and they're paying for it to be displayed, but you're not seeing it because it's blocked. So there's multiple parts to how this works. And I think that's what Google and Facebook are really complaining about, is that, here we are, you have somebody on Facebook that may pay $200, $300, $400, $500 for good quality ad placement on the site, and then boom, it comes up, and people pay for that placement and that impression. But the problem is, you're not even seeing it. So I guess that's really where, and now companies, I know particularly certain people, big companies have actually asked to actually see if they can actually see who sees the ad and who doesn't, and all that. So it messes with the analytics, and it does mess quite a bit with the actual, because companies are actually wanting to see, if people are actually asking, can I see, if people, what ads are being blocked with ad blocker and stuff. So it's getting really technical now, but I think it's going to really come to a head fairly soon. Some other things as well with ad block and some other things too, though, that I do like about it, though, is that ad block, one of the things it does, since it does block ads, is one of the things that it does is it blocks malicious ads, which I think that's really important, because I know a lot of people, I'm always fixing computers for people that, pretty much they get one ad on their, on their computer, and it's a malicious ad, and because it pops up because they're using, Internet Explorer and not ad block, pops up, boom, and affects their machine, and then, they're stuck with this virus that they have to then unfortunately pay to get rid of. So, it's one of those types of things, where it's got its good points and its bad points, just like everything else does. Some other things as well going on in the news. Amazon obviously getting Amazon Fire TV. It's actually a set-top box they're actually getting right now. That was in the news as well. There was a big conference that went on, and obviously that was one of the big devices that really came that a lot of people have been waiting for. Amazon citing a 350% growth in its video streaming market, which is, that's amazing. But now they're unveiling its own streaming device, which is going to feature Amazon Fire TV. The small set-top box will let Amazon compete with Apple TV, Roku, Chromecast, things of that nature. The other reason why Fire TV came out, it's $99, so it's on par with the Roku, and it's on par with several other companies. It's on par with other ones that are out there. But one of the other reasons why they're doing this as well is because they really want to go ahead and they really want to compete with the Chromecast. I know that because Chromecast, I have a Chromecast in my house. And I can tell you the one thing I cannot stream, no matter what I try, is Amazon Instant Video unless I do it through the computer. Chromecast will not let Amazon Instant Video go through from the iPhone onto the TV. So I know Amazon really has a bug up their butts to want to get their own box out there and really compete. And the other reason why Amazon's doing this too is actually because companies like Apple and Roku and any of those Slingbox and all that are all partnering up with these big cable providers and being able to go ahead and get the cable provider to actually go ahead and cut them in on the profits of people renting shows and things of that nature. So that's the other reason too. Amazon wants to get their hands in the pot, since and you can't blame them. They're a company, they do have to produce revenue, so they're thinking, well, why shouldn't we go ahead and get our hands in the pot as well? And the other reason as well that they're getting into this is because right now there's a lot of talk about the money that's going to be made from companies doing live sports. I know Crackle's trying to get into it. Vimeo's trying to get into it. Hulu's trying to get into it. I even heard possibly Netflix, and we know YouTube's already getting into that market. So they know a lot of people are trying to get into that market. And Amazon obviously wants to be one of the front runners in this whole situation with that. So they're going to go ahead and definitely probably try to get their hands, in the pot, which you can't blame them. So we know that's going to be happening very soon as well. Some other news as well that I wanted to talk about that really caught my attention that I wanted to kind of talk about. First of all, I have to say two big events coming up in as far as tech and geek. Obviously, and I have to mention these because if I don't, my fiance will kill me, is obviously the last and final season of True Blood will be premiering on June 22nd. And we all know that show's been hugely popular over the internet over the last over the internet, meaning it's one of HBO's Ghost, one of their most popular shows, as well as regular television HBO. But as well too is Game of Thrones comes back on April 17th. I call this time of year, I call it HBO season. During the winter months, you have, Walking Dead and things of that nature on Sunday night. The Apprentice is on, stuff like that. But now this is HBO season for me, okay? This is the time of year I start streaming HBO and binging on HBO episodes. Is right now. So this is also Netflix season for me coming up too, come summertime. This is when I catch up on all the shows that I missed over the winter. So, but definitely those two shows, very hugely popular, very well done. They're two of HBO's, in my opinion, one of the best series. I would rank them right up there with Sopranos, and they do a really wonderful job, and they are coming back fairly soon. Game of Thrones back in almost 2 weeks, and we've got another 2 months or so before True Blood comes back. But obviously, both in the same time slot. Obviously, that 9 o'clock Sunday sweet spot that HBO has always pretty much dominated for a very long time. Obviously, until some other shows came out, Walking Dead specifically. So some other things as well going on that I do want to talk about as far as ham radio goes. This past week I competed in the CQWPX single sideband. I love single sideband. That's probably one of my favorite that's my favorite modes to work. I work a lot of SSB, and they had a wonderful competition. I worked probably maybe 70 to 100 stations, and it was pretty good. I had a great time with it. I really enjoyed it. And it actually was a great competition. I got myself quite a few points and sent a login, so I'll get a certificate that I competed with everybody and all that. Some of the bigger clubs, obviously, they're getting 200, 300, 400 people. So they're getting thousands and thousands and thousands of points. But me being an individual, I give it the best I can, and it actually is a really good time. I do really enjoy competing and being a part of just an amazing community that it's really great to be a part of. So very glad to be doing that. Wonderful hobby. Anybody that's looking to get into a new hobby, I would strongly recommend it. It definitely is a very fun hobby. I really do enjoy it. So some other things as well going on, folks, in the news. One of the things I do want to mention before we get into I have so much security news to get through this week. This week was just the week of security problems, but we'll get to that in a minute. Some of the other things I wanted to really talk about was kind of funny. I took the time to actually go ahead and work the bands. I worked them till like 1, 2 in the morning Saturday. Friday I worked them till about 1 o'clock in the morning. And one thing I have realized, and I love the hobby, and I will never knock another ham, because pretty much I like almost anybody that's a ham radio operator. But one of the things I noticed is some people, I'm definitely, I'm in the geek class, okay, there's no doubt about it, but some people, they definitely are sometimes a little too into their hobbies and a little too much into certain things. I actually met a radio club on the air the other day that was the Starfleet Academy Radio Club. And they even have ranks on the website and stuff. I was like talking to an admiral, a corporal, a captain. Yeah, so there's some people that really get into that Star Trek thing. I know Star Trek is huge and incredibly popular, but yeah, when I talk to some of those people, it was one of those things like, all I can remember is William Shatner from Saturday Night Live. It was just that intense. So, and the other thing I met too, which is kind of a neat group of guys, and me, as a lot of you know, folks, I'm very much into, I'm a long time listener, Coast to Coast AM, long time Art Bell fan. I listen to George Norrie, I listen to Ground Zero, with Clyde Lewis, I listen to all that stuff. Alex Jones, I listen to him once in a while. All those guys, great broadcasters, and they're all very good at what they do. And and talking about conspiracy stuff, I actually met the Area 51 Radio Club, competition club, they call themselves. Area1cc.com is the website. But they actually are a really neat group of guys. And I got talking to them, and they really do a really wonderful job on their competitions, and they really know their stuff. And I have to laugh because, they were such a great group of guys, and they have such this ridiculously cool name. I mean, this radio club actually sells swag on their website. They actually have a patented logo, and they actually go ahead and sell quite a bit of swag right on their website. So it actually is a really cool club. But I actually ran into those guys as well when I was competing over the weekend, and they really were a nice group. And I want to give a shout out to those guys. They were really cool. Some other neat stuff going on in as well, that kind of a little bit of old news, I guess it was last weekend, but Office for the iOS released, I think it's about 4 years too late, I think is what the top headline was. It's got that look and feel interface for the Windows, for Windows 8. And I have some news on Windows 8 as well that we'll get to here in a minute, but I think Microsoft just dragging their feet on that. And what really surprised me, and I've talked about this before, is, Microsoft's, one of their biggest revenue generators is Windows and Office. And I can tell you, being somebody who's dealt with a lot of companies over the years, I don't care if they have Windows or Mac, they have Office. Which is, just ridiculous. I mean, think about it. People running Macs, but they're buying Office. So Microsoft's making money on PCs, even that aren't even running their OS, which is amazing still for them. But now they're even making money. They figured out a way to make money on the tablet market by releasing Office and stuff like that. And I think they've waited so long to release it that I think they've actually lost a huge chunk of revenue by doing that. They could have really went ahead, and they really could have. If they had released this 4 years ago, they would have made a fortune on it. But they wanted that Metro look, and they wanted to kind of hold back. And I think they really wanted to make Apple. Yeah, somebody just said in the chat room, they're trying to make Apple suffer. Yeah, I agree with that. Because Apple really never put out a good word processor. If you remember, Microsoft back in the heyday, in the 80s, used to make software and programs for Apple because Apple just couldn't get a good word processor out the door. I remember when you used to have to buy iLife and even that was, kind of crummy. But Microsoft, they really could have really gone ahead and really made could have made a lot more money on that. And now they're with the subscription based, which $99 a year for Office. If you really need it that bad, it's not too bad. Especially, when you deal with a lot of the school districts, a lot of them have either gone to Google Docs or Microsoft's actually practically giving away Office nowadays to the school districts, just so the kids know how to use that, so you don't use other things. But I mean, Microsoft knows definitely what they're doing when it comes to Office. But I just really think they released it way too late. And obviously, 3 apps are designed for iOS 7, and same thing. The same thing happened with Office, by the way, too. With them when Apple first came out with the Retina display, Microsoft wasn't ready for it, and when they released it, the Retina display with Office was just terrible, and it took about 2 months, 3 months before Microsoft finally got their butt in gear and fixed it. And I think a lot of that was just to make Apple suffer more than anything else. I mean, that's really what I think it was. I mean, I'm not positive of that, but it sure looks that way. So some other news as well that I thought really caught my attention was this whole thing. Google actually wants to trademark the word glass, and the patent company, the patent office, is not allowing them to do that. And they are fighting very hard. Now, they do actually have patented the word Google. They do actually have the word Google Glass. That's a patented trademark of theirs, which obviously that's the name of their product, so they patented it. Which you got to give them credit. I mean, they're not like Microsoft that gets SkyDrive and then doesn't look if it's patented before they actually do it. But they actually want to patent the word glass, because for those of you that have worked with the Google Glasses at all, you actually have to say okay, glass, and then it turns on. But they actually want to patent that word, and the patent office won't give them the patent. So they're obviously still they're working on trying to get it patented, but I doubt they're going to let them. Google though has a tendency of fighting very hard to get what they want, but I just don't think they're going to go ahead, and I really don't think they're gonna get it. So, by the way, there's some new studies for guys out there. There's actually somebody brought this to my attention today. A friend of mine brought this to my attention, saying that there was actually a study done in, I believe it was the UK or Britain, and they're actually saying that studies claim that cell phone radiation causes male infertility and incontinence by killing male sperm cells and even causing erectile dysfunction. That was in the news today. That was up on CBS this morning, by the way. Those of you that don't believe me, look up the story. And I don't know about you, but a lot of people carry their cell phone in their pocket. And the pocket is fairly close to the reproductive organs. So, some other news as well this week. Linus Torvalds suspends a key Linux developer from working on Linux. Now, Linus takes his Linux very seriously, and apparently this guy worked for Red Hat, or apparently had worked for one of those companies, and he was a prominent Red Hat employee and code contributor, and he was actually banned from working on a Linux kernel. He's a well-known open source engineer, key developer in the plan, and I guess is currently he really wanted to change a lot of core components, especially two of the most prominent enterprise components. And it's funny, since he works for one of the most prominent Linux distros, being Red Hat. He was saying that Ubuntu would adopt future versions as well, and some other things that he had brought up to Linus, things he wanted to do. They say he was failing. They said he's failing to address issues that caused systemd to interact with Linux kernel in a negative way, and Linus actually gave him the boot. So that was in the news today. Linus seems to be making the news a lot over the last couple of years, between winning the Nobel Prize and now this. So I want to get into some security news here, and then what I want to do, I want to do some open lines. Or, I don't know, somebody just been in the chat room, like, how could you call it open lines? Because they can email you, we can call you, we can chat you. So it's not really open lines. It's kind of more like, I guess they're right with that. I guess it is more of kind of open. I'd call it open lines because I've listened to Coast to Coast and, for years now, and that's what they call it, is open lines. But I guess it's not really open. I guess it's more like open conversation, I guess we could call it. But anyway, let's talk about the security news quickly, and then we'll go ahead and we'll open it up for any questions. Vulnerability in the world's one of the world's largest sites. Turns out that the vulnerability actually made people pretty much bona fide DDoSers. That was in the news this week as well. They're not releasing the name of the site or what site it happened to, but they're just saying that apparently it was a layer 7 DDoS attack, and apparently it took a site down because it turned like 220,000 internet users into DDoSers. And it nailed. It was a DDoS attack, flooded one of their clients with over 20 million GET requests. That's a lot, man, and it took their site down. So that was a vulnerability. They're not telling us who it is or what, but I'm getting out. It's probably a big site. Security, some other security news as well. Yahoo obviously now encrypting everything. It's encrypting Yahoo Messenger coming soon. Obviously encrypting Google Mail. Any of their services are all being encrypted now. They went to HTTPS like Google and Facebook did. They were like one of the last ones to do it. So they're actually moving ahead with their security practices. Finally, Yahoo Mail has been horrible as far as their spam filters and getting picked apart by viruses and stuff. It's been almost like borderline amazing that they're still in one piece yet. So, I can definitely see them beefing up their security a lot more than what it is right now, and I can see that being if their email's been horrible. There's no other way. There's no ifs buts about it. I get calls all the time from people saying, "Could you please do me a favor and block, this Yahoo Mail account because it's just spamming us constantly." And it's happened several times, by the way. There's actually a tool right now out that's actually it's actually a LinkedIn hack tool, exposes users' emails without exploiting any vulnerability. It's actually, what it does is it's actually a plugin for Chrome, Firefox, or Safari, and it's actually called Cell Hack, and actually allows users to view hidden email addresses of any LinkedIn user. That means anybody can grab the email address. There's actually a little button he clicks, says hack it. It's pretty neat. When you install the Cell Hack plugin, it'll pop up a hack in button, and you actually click, and it actually goes right into the actually gives you the person's email account. So it's something that obviously was an issue. LinkedIn obviously not very happy with this. I would imagine they're probably hammering the Chrome store and stuff to go ahead and try to get people to really go ahead and really try to go ahead and they're really trying to go ahead and really try to get people to really try. It's definitely a problem. And if you remember when Chromium happened, and and a lot of those other things happened, they actually had to go ahead and they fought with the Chrome store, they fought with the Firefox store, and really got really had a fight with them to get them down. I'm sure this will be the same situation where they'll be going ahead and getting the Firefox and the Chrome Play Store to actually take these two plugins down, because they are pretty illegal. So I'm sure we'll see them down relatively soon. But it's going to be a fight. It always is with something like this. So more news, by the way, on these router vulnerabilities. This just keeps coming. It just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Obviously, they're still dealing with that amplification attack, UDP protocol. Obviously, one of the common used by hackers, domain name as DNS referral domains, causing DDoS services, all that stuff. So, a lot going on with that. They do have tools out there to check your router. I recommend using them, especially if you're running a Linksys. So, some other stuff is as well, folks. Most sophisticated Android bot-kit malware ever detected. It's infecting millions of devices. That was on the news this week. It actually made the mainstream news talking about that. Android bot-kit malware, dubbed as oldbot.a. It's affected almost 500,000 smartphones already, and users worldwide with the Android operating system have been affected in the last 8 months, especially in China. No word yet on where it is. Chinese security researcher 360 Mobile Research is the one that actually found it. And this was actually, it's in the family, dubbed it the old bot B, was actually a similar one. And that's really, causing problems as well. So, malware, and some other ones that there is, I believe, Malwarebytes coming out with a tool to get rid of it, but it's not out yet. So we'll keep you posted on that. Update, by the way, Safari got about a dozen patches. Got 24 patches for critical vulnerabilities. So a lot of you there that are running Safari, just make sure you run your updates over the next couple days. Some other news as well. You have obviously Microsoft. I was going to go down. I missed a couple pieces of the news here. Let me go back. WinRAR, obviously file extensions being spoofed, and actually, people doing actually downloading files, and they think are WinRAR files, and it's actually hackers are hiding malware in it. Like I said, it's a spoofing vulnerability. I'm sure WinRAR will fix it, but right now it's vulnerable. So make sure you scan them. And when you click on, what happens is you actually click on it, and there's actually a pop-up box that says PWNED pwned. But like I said, it's a distributed malicious code. It's actually it's called Danner Conan AN7I, discovered by WinRAR. So that's something that you need to be aware of. Some other stuff as well. ransomware developer, ironically enough, left the decryption key on an affected computer. That was in the news this week as well. That actually made almost like mainstream news this week. I'm not sure if a lot of people know what it is, but apparently, from what I'm reading here, simply by exploiting the flaws in things, people are able to take advantage of decrypted code. When those people have been hit back. It's not an April Fool's joke. A malicious software program that holds the victim's computer files hostage by wrapping them with strong encryption until the victim pays the ransomware. Antivirus firm Symantec explained the malware called Crypto Defense. All right, blah, 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 blah. But apparently, when doing some research, Crypto uses Microsoft infrastructure and Windows API to generate encryption and decryption keys. Has been sent out spam, charging people $500. And apparently they were, Symantec was looking through some machines and actually found the files there were actually files left. Crypto Defense encrypts files using public key encryption using RSA 2048 encryption in order to ensure the files held to ransom and transfer the private key in plain text. So that's how they were able to grab it. Victim will not be able to decrypt the files, but here they stumbled the Crypto Defense developer and found the private key being sent in clear text. They were able to grab it. So they actually have the key for it. So I'm sure we'll slowly start seeing that virus dwindle away. Like I said, folks, Microsoft looking to possibly bring the start menu back in the Windows free OEM. There's start menu is actually back, and they're actually going to give you, do you want to do Metro? Do you want to do desktop mode? Do you want to do mobile mode? So there's going to be a couple different choices down when you install it. So Microsoft CEO Brendan Each resigns from the company pretty much only after 2 weeks, so he stepped down. Not exactly great publicity for the company. They haven't been in the spotlight too much, but this definitely got him in there now. Vine now lets friends share videos and text messages. That was in the news this week. A lot of those fire alarms that Nest makes, they're actually pulling them off the market for a safety issue. That was actually on CNET today. I actually saw that, so I was actually looking to buy one of those. I'm glad I didn't. It looks like, from what they're saying, glitch in software function prompts Nest to halt retail sales and issue software update to existing owners. So they're actually holding off on things until a software update. It's the second smart home product from Nest, following the popular Nest Learning Thermostat. That Nest was acquired by Google in January 13th of this year. I forgot about that. So that was in the news as well. Some other things as well. Roku adding a live concert channel now to their system. We were just talking about Amazon before, but now Roku. Roku's a company too. They just released the Chrome Stick to go ahead and compete with the Chromecast. They're a major player for a company that's, I don't want to say they're tiny because they're not, but for a company that doesn't have Google's money or Amazon's money, they definitely are a very heavy competitor. They put out a good product, so. As well, too, by the way, Amazon proposing earbuds that react to your voice. Obviously not a new technology. They've had stuff before that reacts to your voice, but now they're actually going ahead and they're actually going to go ahead and they're trying to patent actually earbuds, the actual earbud itself, the way it reacts to your voice. They're trying to patent that technology. I don't know how that's going to work out either, because we already have things out there that react to your voice, but they want to patent the actual earbuds. So we'll see what happens with that. So as always, folks, we're gonna, well, as always, well, from now on, as always, it's gonna be open lines. So anything you want to talk about, anything at all, go ahead. You can email me, hit me in the chat room. The chat room is how most people do it. Call me Skype at Lapani Tech. And anything you want to do, folks, go right ahead. Again, the phone number for the voicemail box, 570-630-0740. 844. I'll play your call on the air, or you can Skype me directly and get on the broadcast. Go on the website, Skype me. It's right on there and ask questions, or email me. I do have, actually, the one question I do have some people that email me before the show because they knew we were going to be live. I try to promote as much as I could on my Twitter, but this actually was a question somebody sent me. What do you think about Microsoft reading employees' personal email? See, there's more to that than meets the eye with that. What had happened with that is that Microsoft... The guy was a dedicated Microsoft employee. He used, SkyDrive, he used Outlook, he used all that Hotmail and all that. The problem was he was selling company secrets. He was giving them away, he was leaking them, whatever you want to say. And somebody asked another manager and said, hey, he left the company, he's been giving away our secrets. Can we go ahead and actually check his email? And they said, well, yeah, why not? It's our system. It's a courtesy that we give you email. Which that's really what email is, by the way. It's a courtesy. They don't have to give you a free email account. It's a courtesy that these companies give it to you. But let's go ahead and check his email. And lo and behold, they checked his email and all that, and they kind of got caught with their hands in the cookie jar. So Microsoft's actually making a legal team now that they're actually going to consult when they need to check somebody's email. I could not believe that Microsoft didn't have something like that already in place, but apparently they didn't. So. That was actually a really popular question. That actually is a good question. I don't think that people should. I mean, when big companies that I've worked for, when you want to read somebody's email, the CEO or the superintendent or somebody has to give you permission to read that other person's email. That's just the way it is. Microsoft, I can't imagine that they didn't have a system like that, unless they're just saying that to cover themselves. But yeah, that was actually a question. Actually, somebody's trying to call me on Skype right now, and let me hit accept call. This is Brandon, the Technology Geek. You're on the air. Go ahead. Hello. Okay, the call just dropped out. If you're listening, go ahead and call us back, please. And when you do, please turn off your radio. Because turn off your radio, turn off your stream. You can tell I have done, by the way, folks, a lot of FM radio. I started out with obviously ham radio when I was younger, but then I got into FM radio for a little bit, and as well got into this now streaming and podcasting stuff. But so it's just a habit of saying turn down your radio. But if you're listening, go ahead and try to call back. Hope we can get them back on the phone. They would have actually been our first person on our live broadcast. They would have been part of history. Maybe not really that huge of history, but but they would have been history as far as our show goes. I got somebody in the chat room that just hit me up. Brandon, knowing you're a ham radio operator, what do you think? Should I go wired antenna or vertical antenna? That's a tough question because it really depends on your. It really depends on where you are. I'll give you a prime example. My friend of mine, Mike, he is in the proverbial radio black hole. He has mountains on all four sides of him, and he had a folded dipole for a while, and the only way he could get out really was to crank the power all the way up on his system. And it didn't really work so well. And then what he ended up doing, it did work, but not as well as it should have. And what he ended up doing was we put up a tower for him, about 70-foot tower. He put a Yagi on top, and he does great on it. He actually put a 2-meter vertical on top. And ever since he put that in, he's had no problem with his radio at all, for the simple reason is it's so high that it's can push the signal over the mountains. But it really depends on where you are. If you're at a high, like myself here, I have a Wyndham dipole. It's only maybe not even. It's probably about 50, maybe. I mean, it's not. I mean, I'm looking at maybe 5-10 more, but maybe it's the problem is that mine's at an angle. So at the highest spot, it's maybe 10, maybe 12 feet off the ground. At its lowest point, maybe 7 or 8 feet, and it works great for me. I'm at a very, very high elevation, where I am. So for me, it works. The other thing with that is too, it really depends on where you live. Like I know in New Jersey, or in parts of the city, you can't just have these big antennas, hanging off roofs and stuff like that. You just can't do it. So it really depends on where you are. If you have the room for a wired antenna and you're at a good elevation and a place where you can hang it, go for it. If you're in a spot where space is at a premium, you may have to actually buy and shell out the $400 or $500 for a multi-mode vertical. I know my friend, he lives right in a city, fourth floor of a 10-floor apartment building, and the only thing he has to work with is the fire escape. So he had to shell out the $500 for a diamond multi-mode antenna. It does great. He gets phenomenal signal with it because he's on the fourth floor, but it really depends on where he is. He doesn't have the space for a 125-foot dipole like I do. We're on a lot of land here, kind of in the middle of nowhere, so we can get away with it. But, it really depends where you are. But if you can put a wire antenna up, I think the long wire or the dipole, as long as you're using the proper balun, can get you just as good as a real high antenna if you're at a good elevation or a good place with not a lot of mountains. That's just me personally. And this person's trying to call me back again. And let me hit the button again. This is Brandon, Technology Geek. You're on the air. Go ahead. Hello. Go ahead. We can't. I can hear you. I can hear you, but you're very faint and nothing. Okay. I don't think that was the same person, but I think now that we might be having some technical difficulties. We may have to work out the problems with the call-ins. We'll have to work on that. I think if you want to keep trying. I'll keep trying to pick it up. I don't know if we're having a problem or not with the way we're set up here. I don't think we are. I did run a test Skype before we went on the air, and it worked fine with the way I'm doing it. So we'll see. But you can try me again if you want. Go ahead, try and call me again if you want. I'll try to pick it up again. Somebody. This is an interesting question. Somebody actually left this on the voicemail box. I did not. Because of the nature of the question, I didn't put their voice on the air. Somebody actually asked, can I actually get arrested for using things like BitTorrent? I use LimeWire. I don't know if LimeWire is the same thing. I've heard of people buying premium services from companies that actually allow them to get movies the day they come out in theaters and they burn them with DVDs. Yeah, see, here's the problem with that. That's actually illegal. But since these companies are out of the country, they can legally sell it to you. And they sell it to people who, unfortunately, are naive and don't really know as much as they should, about technology. It's not that people don't know. Okay? I'm not going to lie. When I go to the car mechanic, he could show me a part, tell me it's something, and I believe him because I'm not really a car guy. Okay? The same thing with this. People don't know. Any of those services are illegal. Torrents, especially the movies. The movies are where they're really cracking down on people. Music, yes, I agree that they're cracking down on people with that. But the movies are really where we're getting killed. So I would strongly recommend, if you could, to actually go ahead and I would say try to get your music legally. I mean, you're basically asking about music. I mean, for what? If you're just listening on the computer, you can get a Spotify account for $4.99, all the music you want. If you want it on your phone, $9.99 a month. I think it's much safer and less aggravation. It's not going to take up as much space either because Spotify, especially, is all streaming. So, somebody, I have another person in the chat room right now saying, I read a lot about tech, listen to a lot of tech shows. I guess my question is, can I have XP safely in my network if I don't allow it online? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you turn off the network card or pull the network card out, you shouldn't have, it's just going to be a standalone machine unless somebody plugs, a jump drive in or a CD or something with a virus on it, but I can't imagine there's going to be much of that. But you should be fine with it. If it's not touching the internet, it's not going to get viruses. A lot of people don't realize that. And I mean, you can safely run XP still. I mean, don't run as admin. Good virus. Remember, Microsoft, a lot of companies like Avast and stuff are still, and AVG are still keeping their support for these products, even though they're so late in life. So you definitely could get away with that if you really wanted to. I mean, and definitely if it's going to be off network. I mean, I know I have school districts that run XP. They've been running XP for 2 years now with machines that aren't even on network. They're standalone machines. They use them for stuff like LeapPad, or they use them for, I mean, I had a guy, this is a really funny story. I had a guy all the way up to about a year ago. He was still running some ancient Macs, and all he used them for was editing. That's all. He was using it for some kind of editing, some kind of device he used that he needed this particular Mac just for editing. And I mean, it never touched the internet or nothing. All it did was sit there connected with a serial port to that other device. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If that, I would actually recommend that if you have anything of importance on the machine, to go ahead and and do that. So another person actually in the chat room, same person actually just asked me, have you, hold on a second, hold on one second. Somebody's trying to call in again with Skype. I'm hitting the accept button, and go ahead, Brandon. This is Brandon, Technology Geek. You're on the air. Go ahead. Oh, hello. Okay, I can see he's talking, but it's not coming through. Okay, so it's definitely on our end. Okay, I'm very sorry about that, folks. I don't think we're going to be able to take any more open line calls right now. I think that we can go. I think we have a problem on our end. We'll have to work it out. It did work when I tried it. I tried it from one computer to another. Tried it from my cell phone to the computer. It did work. I don't know why it's not working. But this is the same person I think I hung up on the first time. I hang up on them. They disconnected on me. Okay, I think you can keep trying if you want, folks. If we can get one gets through, one gets through. But I think we might have a problem on our end. So just go ahead. Again, this is our first night, folks, doing live. We've never done live before. So please bear with us. And I do apologize, but again, this is our first live broadcast. We are trying to really work it out. But hey, feel free to jump in the chat room and throw the question up there. I'll answer it. I don't care. Again, it's anything you want to talk about. Have you heard of ham radio operators in space? Well, I actually was reading an ARRL article the other day regarding ham radio operators in space. Pretty much any astronaut has to have a radio license. It's a mandate by whoever makes the mandates, but I think it's a good thing. And just so you know, folks, too, I talked to a lot of friends of mine that are heavily involved in the fire department and things of that nature, and certain sheriff departments are actually requiring people to have radio licenses now, just so you know. But just figuring you might want to know that. But some interesting things about that is all the guys that were in space repairing that space station, all those guys were ham radio operators. So I thought that was incredibly cool. I don't mess too much with the satellites in space. I don't have a space station down here, you could say, to work with those guys. I really wish I did, but I don't. I've got the space for it. I could do it. I have the space for it outside. I have a lot, actually, a fairly large lot, just dedicated to my antenna farm. I could put it there, but I haven't gotten to it. That might be maybe a project I might be looking to do in the next year or two. But yeah, I have heard about that, by the way. That is kind of neat. Like I said, I have not messed around. I'm getting some more questions in the chat room right now from people. Have you ever messed around with anything in space? No, I got to tell you, I have not really messed around any of that stuff. I know I can. I'm a general class of service, so I could if I wanted to, but I have not. Unfortunately. If anybody knows, if anybody has messed around with it, anybody wants to show me a demo of it, I'd be more than happy to get on some Skype with you and do it. It'd be a blast. So I've got another question coming in. Another question that came in from email. Kind of a neat question. What do you think about the use of robots? Do they save jobs or do they take jobs? See, I got mixed feelings on this a little bit. Here's the thing. When Harley Davidson got taken over by the employees, they went from having people that were people that were just line workers, they ended up saying, how can we make this product as good as it is, keep jobs, make the product better? And they ended up getting laser cutters. They ended up getting more precision tools. Same thing with Ford. Ford has done the same thing. They have some of the most advanced assembly lines in the world. So that being said, the guy that would come in every day and drill, 2 or 3 holes, he may not be there anymore because there may be a machine drilling those 4 holes. That being said, the guy that has to fix the machine has to go to college or trade school or some type of training or some kind of certification, I'm sure. So obviously the people that train him, they're going to need jobs. And obviously he's going to have a job when he gets out of his training. And then obviously you're going to need people to manage him. So I have some different feelings of opinions on that. The same thing with, toll booths. Everybody says, well, 20 years ago you'd have, a whole row of 10 people. Now the Easy Pass. And I do agree with that. But maybe you don't have 10 toll collectors, but you have technicians working on the Easy Pass units. You have the guys building the equipment that are going to get jobs. You have people that are building the back-end infrastructure to get jobs. So you have a bunch of people that went to college or went to trade school and now are out working on these systems. So I think in a way you get rid of unskilled laborers and get more skilled laborers with benefits and health care and all that. So I am, in my personal feeling, I think that yes, you're getting rid of the industrial type jobs for minimum wage workers, but I think you're getting more skilled laborers in the sense, and more tradesmen, more trades and craftsmen. That's my personal feelings on it. And somebody just sent me another thing in the chat room. How do you feel about the use of robotics in research in the paranormal? Well, actually, looking at the name in this chat room, I know who this guy is. He's actually a friend of mine. I've listened to Albert Taylor when he was on Dark Matter. He's been on Coast a few times. He's really into developing gadgets and stuff and robots. Sends the robots in to do the paranormal research and all that type of stuff. Wired has had many different magazines on the use of robots in the production of cars and in the production of other things. They're actually using robots in commercials now and things of that nature. There's actually a company now that they're buying old robots and they're using them to make commercials and stuff. So I do believe that, sending a robot in to research the paranormal might be better than sending a physical person in, but you never know. Those heightened sense of smells and all that, robot, there's certain things a robot can't do. The robot can't, smell and taste something. So, but yeah, I have listened to several things on Coast to Coast and stuff like that about that. And I know who that is, who asked that question. He's actually a friend of mine. So, but yeah, I do think it's pretty cool. And yeah, folks, like I said, I do listen to all that, conspiracy and paranormal radio and stuff like that. And I'll tell you why I listen to it, folks. Listening to the mainstream news nowadays is just so hack anymore. I can't bear to listen to it anymore. And I'm going to tell you, I just can't listen, especially when we have those polar, those big cold days. And believe me, I don't mind the cold, but, you're listening to the CNN driving to work in the morning on Sirius, and Lay's like, I just poured the water over this shirt, and 5 minutes later it's frozen. Look at this. This is amazing how cold it is. I just can't believe. Well, no kidding. You ever made an ice cube? The same concept. So, I mean, I don't listen to the mainstream news anymore. I really myself find that I would rather listen to those types of things. And really, I think it stimulates your mind more than the news does. I really think it does. It makes you think, and I think that's something that unfortunately more people need to do. Another question. Somebody's asking me in the chat room. They want to. Oh, wait a minute. Do we have somebody? Somebody was calling. Somebody's calling. Hang the button. Hang the button. I do see the voice. Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Somebody said, yeah, I can hear you. You can't hear. Okay. So somebody just sent me in the chat room, I can hear you. You can't hear me. Okay. All right. So then it is on my end. Okay. Okay. All right. Hey, well, hey, thank you very much for trying to call in. I think we're going to kibosh it on the Skype for tonight, folks. We will get open lines. I guarantee you we will have open lines next week. I am going to try to make it. We're having next week. If not next week, the week after. We'll figure this out. Somebody's giving me some suggestions actually right now. Are you using Mac or Windows? Yeah, I'm using a Mac. You can go ahead and use, wait, what was the name of it? Sound, what is the name? Oh, okay. Apparently there's some kind of thing called that you can actually run with the Mac called Soundflower. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Okay, Soundflower. Okay, and okay. So there's actually a way to do it with Skype where I can actually use Soundflower and use one computer rather than going through a mixing board and all that. Okay. Let me type back to this person. Actually, I'm sure you're listening. We'll touch. Send me an email after the show if you know there's a link. Oh, you just sent me a link in the chat room. Okay, all right, that's good. Okay, all right, I'm gonna try. We'll try that for next week then. Okay, I'm really sorry about that, folks. It's our first time really doing this live, so we'll get all the kinks worked out. No problems there. We'll get the kinks worked out. We'll get this going. By the way, folks, I just have to say, I want to say this to anybody that's listening, and anybody that's going to listen to the replay after this on our TuneIn station, or live on our not live on ours, but on our website, or anybody that's going to download the podcast. The response is just amazingly overwhelming. So I want to thank everybody. Brandon, what do you think of the? This is actually somebody in the chat room. What do you think of the use of Amber Alerts on cell phones? The Amber Alerts used to be on the television and used to be on the radio. Now with less people listening to FM radio and less people watching television live anymore, what do you think of the Amber Alerts? Well, I think that's part of evolution. I really think it is. They had to do something with the Amber Alert system because, it doesn't matter if they put it on TV. Nobody's gonna see it. Just saying that they put it on the FM radio. Now, it is a little different with Sirius because if you're listening to satellite radio, it does cut in on satellite depending on where you're located. Actually, it's kind of weird. I've only ever seen that happen once. But, and in my own opinion, I think that the way they post the Amber Alerts on Facebook now and the way everybody gets a text message, whether it's on their iPhone or their smartphone or even their regular devices, I really think, in my opinion, that's actually better than the way they used to do the Amber Alerts. Think about it. If you were not driving, but let's say you're you're working and you're not listening to the radio, you're not watching the TV, they're going to have an Amber Alert and you're not even going to know about it. But with this, what they say, 50% of people have smartphones and almost everybody in America has some type of cell phones. So, it's one of those types of things where, if 50% of people have smartphones and the rest of the people in America have cell phones, and if they send out one text message, which by the way does not cost you anything, if they send out one text message, they're going to tell everybody in America, hey, this kid's missing. So I think that it's actually better, than the way it used to be. I think the Amber Alerts now, I think really hit more people than they did before. You have to remember, when you really look at the television, even years ago, now, in my opinion, sometimes I think it's too much, actually. But, I think nowadays we're more well-informed than we ever were because, years ago you didn't have mainstream, you didn't have 24-hour news channels. You watched the news every day at 11. So if something happened at 1 o'clock overnight, you didn't hear about it till the morning news or you didn't hear about it till night news. I think now we're more informed than ever before. And I think, too, America's more educated than ever before because everybody has availability to the internet. I've said this before, encyclopedias. I remember when Mom bought me an encyclopedia set. That was a big thing. I remember schools pushing. Everybody had to buy encyclopedias. Now, why to buy encyclopedias? They're out of date. Now you just, you search the internet and find the information you want. So I think And I think, too, people are more well informed now than they were. People are getting better deals because they can research prices and all that better than they were before. I think there's a lot of things that were better. I don't think everything's better, by the way. I don't think technology's made everything better. I think it's made a lot of things better. I think it's made some things worse, actually. But yeah, I do think that use of the Amber Alerts on cell phones is much better. Okay, so see, anybody else have any questions for me? Okay, a couple people says I'm going to save my questions for next week when I can call in. Yeah, I really apologize about that again. We did test this before we went live on the air. That's why we went on. We went on about 10 minutes late because we were making sure we get all the bugs worked out of it. But I want to thank everybody for listening. And like I said, we will, we're going to do this again next week live. 9 o'clock is our show. And please, if you really enjoy our show, I really encourage you to go and check out the website, thetechnologygeek.org, and really check out that show schedule to see what shows we're streaming. And let me tell you, it really is a very, very good group of shows. I've actually listened to almost every show myself. Not I won't say screening them, but just making sure the quality and all that was there. But they really are very good shows. And like I said, you can get it on Shoutcast, you can get it on TuneIn, you can find it on our website. If you're at work, in the car or whatever, you can stream it now right on the, right on the phone, right through your, any of that, right through any of that. We still have the podcasts available. Obviously, you can always download our podcast on demand, all that stuff. So, I want to thank everybody for listening, and we will see you next week. Thank you very much. And as always, like I said, I want to thank everybody, like I said, for listening, and thank you, for this being part of this milestone tonight. Thank you very much.